Hey everybody, it's been a while. Welcome back to React Court. We're actually sorted by the top posts of the month right now. Would you look at that? Because it's been since Labor Day, at least. Well, since the week before Labor Day, when I was able to do some React Court. Last week, I naively thought, after a lifetime of not really interfacing much with AAA games, I thought the Deathloop would change that for me. The week before that was Labor Day. I took that time off. So we're back here. I'm not insulting Deathloop, okay? I'm not trying to be rude. Okay. Let's take a look at this. I'm happy to be back. By the way, take a deep dive into many common software architecture patterns, and it's free. Our gift to you. This is O'Reilly Software Architecture Patterns. Available now at get.o'reilly.com/free_ebook. What a URL. Okay. Am I the asshole for calling the police on my flatmate kid knocking on my door? This is one of those times I believe I need a British or Australian translator. A mate is a friend. A flat is an apartment. What is a flatmate kid? It's a friend of yours who's two-dimensional? It's a roommate's... Oh, on my roommate's child? I was making a joke. I thought maybe this was someone in their apartment complex that was like knocking on their door. It's their roommate's child. Okay. Let's check it out. Am I the asshole for calling the police on my flatmate kid? Disclaimer, not in the USA. Not in the USA. I, F22, live in a shared house with the landlord and his two sons and a woman and her daughter. Is it, by any chance, do they all have hair of gold like their mother, the youngest one in curls? This is a joke about the Brady Bunch. I apologize. Yesterday, the landlord plus his kids were away visiting some family, and the other woman works a crazy schedule. I was sleeping in my room when I woke up by the kids screaming like crazy at about 2 a.m. I figured the mother was not home, so I put on my headphones, but in a few minutes she was banging on my door, still screaming and crying. Okay, let's start. That sucks. That sucks. That's not a nice situation. That's a bit of a toxic living situation. I panicked thinking something horrible was going on outside, so I shut myself in my room's bathroom and called the police. They could hear the screaming on the call, so they came very quickly. All right, that is probably what I would describe as a little bit of an overreaction. An 8-year-old child that you are familiar with is screaming and banging on your door. Your response was to lock yourself in the bathroom and call the police? So you, I'm not trying to argue because this is like a self-driving car situation, but it's like, I'm not saying you have to give up your life to protect your landlord's child. All I'm saying is you are the steward of the child's safety in the situation, whether you should be there or not. The fact that you got so scared of the situation they were in, you locked yourself in the bathroom and called the police is at the very least a little funny. It's a little humorous. They heard the screaming, so they came very quickly. Turns out the kid had a nightmare and was really scared, and the paramedics had to put some medicine in her to calm her down. Then the police asked me a lot of questions, and I explained our living situation. Did I know where the mother was? I told them I was not aware the kid was alone because the mother has a crazy schedule. I provided her phone number, but they couldn't reach her, so they took the kid to the police station. I went back to sleep and woke up by the mother banging on my door and screaming at me for what happened yesterday. She said the police won't give her daughter back and I'm an asshole for calling them for something as silly as a nightmare. I should have just calmed the kid down instead of making it a huge deal. I told her it's not my responsibility to take care of her daughter. I barely interact with any of them, and I was not going to open my door to someone screaming like crazy because it could be dangerous. I think it was the right choice to call the police, but I told the situation to my mother, and she says either way I should have checked on the kid because sharing a house also means helping out with this kind of thing. Okay, this story is sad, but also kind of I can't get over her hearing a kid screaming and then just going to the bathroom with her headphones in and being like Tobey Maguire. I missed the part where that's my problem. Let me just say first, this definitely seems like I don't know if I would feel comfortable saying everybody sucks here, but this situation sucks for everybody here. Can we flip that script around? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6 people living in this house that range from 8 to old enough to have 2 sons. Likely, it's a bit of a strange situation, okay? One family, a landlord and 2 sons, a woman and her daughter, and then just one random, unrelated 22-year-old. That's just a very unusual living situation. I feel like you don't see too much. It seems like this person is already put in a toxic spot, and I have some sympathy for them for that. Hey, Mertzy, thank you. I guess, look, I don't know what to say about this one. Do I think that this person did what they should have done in that situation? No. If you hear an 8-year-old child screaming, like, I kind of feel like even if it's a stranger's child, the adult thing to do is be like, hey, what's wrong? And if you get killed, you just kind of hope that there's like a heaven, because whatever you've done in your life, sacrificing your life to like make sure that a child is safe, it would get you through the pearly gates, IMO. And then then you could just haunt the person who killed you if that's how it happened. But if it's somebody you know, especially, I think that's like an extra obligation, right? Like, I'm not saying this person is taking like the ultra libertarian approach of like, sorry, sister, you're 8 years old and your mom went to work. Now you enjoy being self-reliant. I'm not saying that they're taking that opinion. I'm just saying, I think that when you have an awareness of this child when they're a part of your life, you have more of a, if not an obligation, at least more of an incentive to be like, hey, what's going on? Like, at least talk to the kid through the door or something. I wouldn't want to be in this situation either. It's very uncomfortable. That being said, I don't think I'm comfortable saying that they're an asshole for this. I feel like this is one of those things. You ever hear the expression that shit rolls downhill? Like, if we're trying to track shit zero, the first shit that made everything else shitty, you got to go like a ways up the situation here, right? This person that called the police, I don't think they took the first shit. So who took the first shit? Well, the mom's got weird hours, and that makes it impossible for her to be there for her kid. Okay, but her mom probably didn't willfully take this position that has weird hours, So, like, how the heck did this happen? And all of a sudden, you're going back to, like, Adam Smith or something like that. You're going back to like the dawn of modern economics. You're going back to the first caveman who exchanged like some nuts for some meats. Like, I don't know how far back you're going here. I would say, here's what I would say. Okay, this is a new one for me. We're starting a positive situation. Like, this is novel. It's an everyone sucks here, but I also think you're not the asshole for sucking, because this just seems like a chaotic situation where people are going to act in an unpredictable fashion. So I think OP acted in a strange fashion, in a fashion that was somewhat inappropriate, but also understandable given the amount of chaos that's afoot here. This is one of the most divided posts I've ever seen. 40% not the asshole, 32% you're the asshole, 25% everybody sucks here. That's almost 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. That's crazy. Let me see what's going on here. If I had to read like a Redditor through my mind with ESP in advance, I guarantee like this is top post is, why wasn't the mom there? It's the mom's responsibility. I find it odd your immediate response to hearing a crying child is to lock yourself up and call the police without even attempting to check on the child. Yeah, it's not your kid and not your responsibility, and the mother obviously shouldn't have left your child home alone, but damn, that's some really selfish behavior. I want to say you're the asshole, but I have to lean more towards everybody sucks here. Mother's in the wrong for leaving her kid solo, but you're definitely wrong for not even checking on the kid and taking care of yourself. Based, this is a based result. User received gold for this post. Upvotes, really? For all those saying, wait, what the heck? For all those saying they use crying kids to trap women for sex trafficking, OP literally said it's a shared house that they all live in, and she knew it was her roommate's kid. Is that true? That's the kind of look. That's the kind of stuff. I don't mean to be rude, but like my grandma posted on Facebook. She'll post something that's like, if you see duct tape on your car door handle, run in the opposite direction. It's a common human trafficking scam where while you rip the duct tape off your door handle, they grab you and take you away. It happens all the time. And I'm like, Grandma, come on. That's not going to go down at the Cataraqui Town Center. Come on. I mean, I'm not saying it's never happened. All I'm saying is it's not happening like outside of the Moxies on Gardner's Road, okay? Plus, I would just, if you put duct tape on my door, it wouldn't matter to me because the Bugatti Veyron doors are actually, they're gull wings. So I don't have to use the handle. I have keyless entry, and then they go thunk. Anybody tries to human traffic me, they're getting uppercutted by the Bugatti door. Anyway, I mean, this is not an insane, it's an insane story in the way that they reacted, but it's more like, I can't put myself in their shoes, right? If I lived in, let's call it like, like a duplex environment, and I heard a child screaming, and it was my neighbor's kid, I would go and be like, hey, what's wrong? Because that the responsibility is inherited by me in that situation. If I was 22 years old and I lived with my landlord and their two kids, and then a random lady and her kid as well, and then it was 2 a.m, and I just heard, ah! I probably wouldn't have locked myself in the bathroom. I think I would have tweeted first. I would have been like, check this out. If I die, please avenge me, Twitter. But I can understand that if I put myself in her shoes, I might react in a different way because this seems like a very chaotic situation. So more power to her, I guess. But it sucks. I mean, really, like, it sucks for the kid, man. She can't get her kid back from the police. Yeah, but that, like, okay, that's not really like the 22-year-old's fault. That's kind of like the police's fault. Or like Tobey Maguire, I missed the part where that's my problem. Like that's between the police and the mom as far as I'm concerned. Like I think if you are like, hey, the cops won't give me my kid back and it's your fault because you called them, there's like a self-report in there. That is like, hey, thanks for calling the police on my negligence. Now, as a result of you ratting on my negligence, I'm facing punishment for my actions. But anyway, the timeouts. It happens every time. It's just the classic. I don't even know what they said. I'm not like going in on them. I'm just saying. That's what happens. Oh, I know what it is. Yeah. It's the filter. Okay, it's not mods. It's the filter. Okay, we're going back here. We're going back. Interesting start. A lot of asshole ones right off the bat. Oh, man. I'm just scrolling down a little. Check this out. Am I the asshole for telling my stepson's Bumble date that she should focus on her career and children rather than dating men like my stepson? Oh, man. Oh, it's been a good month, huh? For my whole life, am I the asshole for freaking out at my mom after finding out who my biological father is? For my whole life, I never knew who my biological father was. My mom and family have always been super secret. Recently, my mom decided to tell me as I just turned 16 and she felt I was old enough to know. She sat me down in the living room and told me my bio dad was her ex-stepfather, aka my grandmother and her ex-husband. My aka my grandmother's ex-husband? My grandmother's ex-husband is my dad? I'm just picturing it in a diagram form. Okay. I felt extremely disgusted and disappointed and said, "Why? No wonder Grandma hates being around you. You couldn't keep your legs closed long enough to keep away from Grandma's husband." Look, this can't be real. I, I, I believe that this story could take place, but there is no way that as soon as she heard the news, she just owned her mom like that. There's no chance. I don't believe that you would just and then again, that's the 16-year-old stereotype, is just lighting people up. But I'm completely disgusted with you. I said a lot of other stuff. I wasn't really kind with my words. My mom cried. I'm really sorry. My actions ended up hurting a lot of people. It's something I live with every day. Just know that my actions don't define you. I told my mom to save her words. I never thought in a million years this would be the outcome. Okay, I mean, the way my grandma acts around me, how the only times I ever go to her house are on holidays when my younger siblings go to her house a lot more. I mean, this is just a sad story. I, I'm just leaving. I don't believe it necessarily to begin with, but I'm also just like, I don't want to touch this with a 10-foot pole. That's just a disaster. There's some great ones here, man. Am I the asshole for telling my wife not to clean so angrily? Oh, man. It's interesting start so far. Am I the asshole for telling my stepson's Bumble date that she should focus on her career and children rather than dating men like my stepson? I think this is just like a rule of thumb. This is a heuristic. Anytime you tell a woman at all, and I guess a man, but I feel like it happens a lot less often. But anytime you tell a woman to hurry up and have kids, you're really going to be operating from behind the eight ball when it comes to being on the moral high ground. I think that that's very personal business. Oh, if she already has kids, then, well, maybe let's read through. Maybe let's just read then. For context, my 36-year-old this person's 36. They got a 19-year-old stepson. I don't know who to relate to. I'm okay. I guess I'm like basically the same age as the dad. All right. My stepson lives at home with my wife and I. Last weekend, I found a woman in my living room after I woke up in the morning. She had slept over in my stepson's room. My stepson was still asleep. He normally sleeps in late on the weekends. When I first came downstairs, she was crying on the phone. I proceeded to introduce myself. Hello there. I just picture that story. Hello, welcome to my home. I proceeded to introduce myself. She said she was on the phone with her mother, who was taking care of her son while she was staying over with my stepson. I proceeded to ask if she knew my stepson through his job, and she said they met through Bumble. Sorry, they met online. Bumble. We talked a bit more, and due to reasons I will explain, I ultimately told her that she should not be prioritizing dating, especially men like my stepson, and should instead focus on her career and spending more time with her son. Here's the thing. My stepson has been living with my wife and I since he graduated high school over a year ago. He's handsome, tall, and in shape due to his full-time work as a swimming instructor and lifeguard. Fucking asshole. Fucking sexy dickbag. Chad. Just picture him in his tight red shorts and his glistening body giving those swimming lessons. That's not me putting on a character, by the way. I'm mad. Since he graduated, he has brought numerous women over to our house, at least 20, but I have lost count now and not always aware due to working sporadic hours. Good for him, I guess. At first, my wife and I were surprised about how he was meeting them. He barely has enough time to date and uses most of his free time in his room playing video games. When we confronted him about it, he said he just uses online dating to set up dates and brings them to our house or drives to them. Why do you... This is just a simple question, I guess, from somebody that exists in between 36-year-old dad and 19-year-old stepson. Why do you need to confront your stepson for this? This is not... No. This is not as bad as security camera dad, who was like, you can't... If you don't get home by 11, just sleep on the street. This dad just seems like... I mean, maybe a little curious... I just don't understand why you got to confront your son for going on a lot of dates or, let's be honest, just making your basement sound like Animal Planet 3 or 4 times a week. Oh, okay, hold on. Last year he had 2 pregnancy scares, which he handled himself. Something tells me that there may have been another person involved in these pregnancy scares, but maybe that's just my theory. Furthermore, a few months ago, I noticed he kept bringing back 2 different women to our house in alternation. Although I've always been a monogamous long-term relationship type of guy, I understand the whole gist of young men sowing their wild oats. My wife doesn't seem to mind as long as it's safe. However, I feel like my stepson might not be being completely transparent with his dates, and I currently believe he's not a good candidate for young single mothers. You gotta get a hobby, my man. That's just crazy. What, do you want to be like his administrative assistant? Like, we know when you go into a doctor's office, you got to like fill out a form and do an interview with the front desk about why you're there. It's like, hey, welcome to my son's bedroom. If you could just take a seat right there, he'll be right with you. First, I just want you to know he does tend to bring back women in an alternating fashion. I do need to ask about you personally. Do you have any children? What are your career plans, etc., etc.? Am I in the wrong for interjecting and diverting this young single mother away from her current situation with my stepson? I believe that her son will greatly benefit from her taking a break with dating and spending more time with him. It's just none of your business. You are the asshole. For sure. It's not that big of a deal. Like, you're not a turbo asshole, but just chill out. Like, it's not, you're not the person who controls everybody else's life and decisions, Just let them live their life. You can give advice, but you working as this weird arbitrator of how people should spend their time is very strange. To clarify, the big weirdo energy. I will admit I have a protective urge when it comes to single mothers. Tell me you don't have a t-shirt that says I don't even want to make it up, but it's like, if you mess with the queen, you have to deal with the king's army or something like that. Okay, so his wife has been in therapy due to abusive relationships. It's fair. While I'm not saying my stepson is abusive, I do not believe that the hookup culture he's engaging in is healthy for a young single mother with their whole future ahead of her. Children and career come first, in my opinion. I feel like a lot of people run into this confluence of confusion. You can have an opinion, that's no problem. It's when you start to not just tell it to other people, but act like you're coming from on high with this advice. Plus, dude, you're 36. I don't know if you are of the opinion that makes you some grand old sage or something like that. You're still basically a little kid. It's actually kind of, you and your child are basically peers. You're not yet, but in 10 years, you're going to be the same age, which is, something to keep in perspective. You're in no position. Like if it was like an 80-year-old grandma or something like that, and she's like, "Here's my advice," you would be like, first off, she's coming from a place of a lot of lived experience, but also secondarily, like, you know, whatever, grandma, go back and watch Live with Michael Strahan or whatever, who's even on Live with Regis and Kelly now. You just gotta, you can. There's a difference between having an opinion. And my opinion is kind of, for the record, she can do whatever she wants. But I'm like, when you're a single mom, I'm not saying you can't have any fun. Well, no, I was gonna say I agree with him a little, but I actually don't. There's, you can go out and have some fun if you have your child being handled responsibly by a babysitter. It doesn't. He has an assumption, I guess, in this post that is like she's going out all the time and getting, railed by random lifeguards and being an irresponsible parent. Most of the railing is probably happening past the child's bedtime anyway. There's no reason that those things can't be compatible with one another in a 24-hour day. It just seems like you could fit both of them in responsibly and still be like a good parent. Anyway, yeah, you're the asshole. The more I talk about it, the more I'm like, it's just weird that you. This seems like the kind of guy he becomes like he's Dwight Schrute, right? Like he's Dwight Schrute, and his son is Jim Halpert, and now Michael Scott is allowing him to have the smallest modicum of power over his son, and he's like, "Are you sure you should be doing all that fucking?" Like it's just weird. Don't date my son if you want a long-term relationship. Okay, great, very honest. Don't date at all, be a mother, you're the asshole. That's definitely true. Okay, yeah, I know. User received gold for this post. Shooting stars, Reddit silver, Dutes, really? You're the asshole? Who are you to assume she doesn't spend enough time with her son because she spent a single night at someone else's? Absolutely true, yes. You're the asshole. Single mothers are allowed to date and even have one-night stands. You want to warn her that your stepson is a frick boy? Go right ahead. That's true. Yeah. You could be like, hey, my stepson's kind of a piece of garbage. It makes you kind of an asshole. Instead of doing that, you're like, you should be a better mom. That's a little, not the asshole, but situations like this. Oh no, it's the realtor. You're not the asshole. Source dude, just trust me. But situations like this are beyond uncomfortable. If I were you, I would not let the stepson bring flings over. Look, okay? He's 19 years old. In the economic reality of 2021 is very different than it was in like 1952, okay? In 1952, the window of time where somebody was capable of making an informed decision about copulating, and also the window of which they were able to maybe get their own property, or at least like move out on their own, there was probably like it's a narrow window of a couple of years. Nowadays, people are, with real estate prices so insane, rents so insane, COVID to begin with. I mean, COVID broke out when this guy was like 17 years old, maybe. Kids are not going to be leaving home until they're in their mid-20s, maybe later. You got to come up with some kind of situation, like some kind of agreement in the hotel of mom and dad to allow this stuff to happen. Otherwise, I think you're just being kind of ignorant at this point. Like, it's gonna happen. This is like South Korea, which is like the only other country I'm familiar with, has the same thing going on where like you're not supposed to stay over with your boyfriend or girlfriend until you're married, but that's like not realistic. So instead, they go out to like karaoke rooms, DVD bongs, which is like where you go and watch a movie, and then you just do it in there, and then some poor like minimum wage staff has to clean up your stain instead of the way God intended, which is that your mom finds it when she washes your sheets 4 days later. Like, just get over it. It's just the idea that you would be like, you can't bring prospective romantic partners over is just like complete denialism to me, at least. I don't understand. Big plus two. Oh, thank you, thank you. It felt good when the metal straw hits. Oh man. You're the asshole. You're the asshole. No, I want to see some psychos, man. You're the asshole. You're the asshole. Why was she crying? Also, you're the asshole. You're the asshole. You're the asshole. Info. Okay, yeah, no, that's fair. Oof, you're the asshole? I just hate to. This is a flashpoint issue that causes a lot of disagreement, which is fine, okay? This is a safe place to disagree. But I am always surprised at the amount of people who are like, if it makes you uncomfortable, ask him to keep it out of the house. And then somebody else replies, this is the best comment. If OP is uncomfortable with his son bringing strangers into the home, he needs to take it up with him, not the strangers. The his house, his rules stuff, like, I do get it. And I just disagree when it's like your child. I'm not saying that your child should be allowed to like do arson in the home or, you know, consistently bring home sketchy strangers who like rob you. But it's so why is so much of Am I the Asshole like disputes about real estate as if like you're the king of the castle instead of situations that are like, you know, everybody in this house has to live under one roof. We've all gotta, you know, that's what it's like to live with other people in Castle Ravani. Exactly. You do some shit, I guarantee you, that annoys the hell out of your son, okay? You probably mow the lawn at like 7:40 a.m. on a Sunday or something like that. But you just get to go, you know, my house, my rules. And then your son he's not even causing you any problems based on your post. He's just, you know, laying pipe and maybe you're a little bit jealous or something like that. And now you're blowing up his spot constantly. And then not only blowing up his spot, but then telling his romantic partners to be better mothers. Like everybody's gotta get along in these situations. Why is it always like, well, my name's on the deed, so I will enforce my will on this domicile? Like, just homeowners don't be like weird tyrants 2021 challenge. I mean, I pay the mortgage. I get my way in my own house like 20% of the time. I'm thankful for it. I'm just out here trying to survive, man. You'd be fine if your daughter in 19 years brought back the whole band of Nickelback. Look, it's easy to say in principle. We could not make that. There would be a space problem. It wouldn't be on immoral grounds or taste or anything like that. We don't live in a place that's large enough to sustain what would at that point be 8 adults? When you include my family, this place cannot fit 8 people. You can do it like one at a time, maybe over the course of a week, do some kind of rotation or something like that, but not simultaneously. It's not like a permission thing. It's more that like I don't want to have to like ask Chad Kroger to like, oh no, I'm going that way. Hey Chad, I know you're standing in front of the fridge like doing a text, but like I need to move. I need to get some water from the fridge, right? Like. Cut his mic. Okay. Am I the asshole for asking my wife not to clean so angrily? I love this. I love this because I think that I can relate already. And I love it even more because he has been judged in the way that I judge myself. Oh, this is a recurring issue that happens regularly, often leads to fights. Last night it happened again. My wife is a bit of a neat freak. Her cleaning standards are definitely higher than mine. I've tried to adapt and clean more often. It's not a problem for me. I don't mind cleaning most of the time. The issue is that it's hard to predict when messes will set her off and send her into a spiral of angry cleaning. Here's what happened yesterday. We got back from a trip to Costco. We're both exhausted. I unload the car and put the perishables away before I leave but I leave everything else out to take care of later. Then I go to decompress and play video games before bed. All right, let me tell you, brother, we take it from a wise old sage at age 32. Everything up to this point, you have some defensibility. You've got you've got a lot of sympathy. However, as soon as you, and I know what you're going to say in response to this because I have the conversation with myself, okay? When you're putting the groceries away, you got to do the whole thing, okay? You can't, because it's a shot along the bow to put half of the groceries away and leave the other half out. Because what you're saying basically is, I've already done enough. It's your time now to do this other 50%. The way that this accounting, the credits and the debits of household work do in a married household is that you do the whole chore and then you mentally keep track of it and you go, I put the groceries away. I did the whole thing. I get one chore credit, and then you have discussions about how to exchange those credits and settle the accounts later. If here's the thing. If my wife was like, we need to vacuum and mop this weekend, and then she did half of the vacuuming at her own convenience and then knocked on my office door and gave me the vacuum and was like, your turn, I would be upset. Because I'm like, basically you're saying like you chose when it gets done and then you're forcing me to do it when you want me to do it. Instead, you vacuum everything and then later you go, hey, I vacuumed, you can mop now, and I mop when it fits nicely into my day. Otherwise, because if you leave half of the groceries out, you did half of a chore, but you also left a mess when you didn't have to. You instead of making the place clean, which is the goal for a neat person, you left the place messy in order for the chores to be done in an equitable fashion, which is like putting the cart before the horse. And I say that as somebody who's been there many times. I know everyone's like, capitalist marriage sounds exhausting. Tell me you got 25 yellow McDonald's paper fillet of fish wrappers on your office or bedroom floor without telling me. Tell me you got a bunch of empty soda bottles on your floor without telling me you got a bunch of empty soda bottles on your floor. I have 10 empty water bottles in my room. Oh, man. Not me. It's maybe like 3 or 4. But I leave everything else out to take care of later. Then I go to decompress and play video games before bed. Look, I'm not policing his enjoyment. But sometimes I do this too. I'm like, oh, I'm so tired. I just need to play some video games before bed just to relax. Then I'm on Rocket League like, wow, 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 wow. Nice shot. Nice shot. Wow, what a save. Wow. Sorry, honey, I can't do the chores. I'm just decompressing. Wow, wow. Anyway. The thing that set my wife off was a moldy piece of fruit on the counter. Understand? It's a caffeine burp. I apologize. Understandable. It's gross. It should just be thrown away, right? It's not so simple. Something tells me that this runs a little deeper than they had originally alluded to. My wife gardens and she hates just throwing things away. She has several different compost bins. And she likes to save fruit seeds to grow them. She's gotten upset with me before for throwing away old fruit she was saving for something, so I hadn't thrown away this piece of fruit that she put there because I wanted to check with her to see what she wanted to do with it. So she goes to the kitchen for something, sees the moldy fruit in the boxes, and decides the kitchen is a mess. She starts to angry clean. I can hear her in the living room, huffing and puffing and slamming things. I feel like an asshole because now I'm playing video games while my exhausted wife cleans the whole kitchen, but I really wanted to just relax, go to bed, and take care of everything the next day. Anyway, I suck it up, go to the kitchen to try to convince my wife to just go to bed and let me clean everything. I tell her basically that it's really stressful when she angry cleans, and I think she needs a better way to manage her anger. Ooh. The best laid plans of mice and men. She gets more upset, and we have our standard fight. Am I the asshole here? I feel like it's reasonable to point out how the way my wife copes with stress and anger doesn't ever seem to make her less stressed and angry. And when she radiates anger when she's upset, it's really stressful to be around her. Okay. Like, I get that is frustrating. Like, genuinely. But I think you gotta put yourself in her shoes for like at least 5 seconds and be like, you like it. You're wired in a certain way. You want things to always be clean and tidy. They're not clean and tidy, and it seems like it's because your husband was like, I can just put away this stuff tomorrow. I'm gonna go play some video games. Which is true. Like, you could still put them away tomorrow, don't get me wrong. But you could also just nut it up for like 5 seconds and put them away then, and then play the video games 5 minutes later, okay? But that notwithstanding, like, if you put yourself in her shoes, right? She's mad that she has to put some extra stuff away. She's mad that it's unclean, so she starts to clean herself. By the way, I can't say this for certain, but I'm going to imagine that maybe she is passive-aggressively cleaning a little bit and making more noise than, would be necessary. But I also wouldn't be surprised if it's a little bit of the husband's guilt manifesting itself as, like, when she makes noise while cleaning, it's because she wants me to feel bad that I didn't do the thing that deep down I know that I probably should have done to begin with. So maybe I'm putting my own projection on. There's a little bit of column A and a little bit of column B is my expectation. But either way, the wrong time to be like, hey, honey, I don't think it's healthy for you to get your anger out by doing cleaning. The wrong time to bring that up is when she's in the middle of cleaning, because like it or not, I'm not saying this is fair, but if your way of decompressing from stress is cleaning, you have a huge moral high ground. What are people going to be like? Oh, stop blowing off steam, making the dishes spick and span? Like, that's you really need to come at that situation from a delicate position, because of the fact that she's basically doing combined household labor as a way of getting her stress out. So she's going to be like probably a little bit annoyed with you that she felt like she had to clean. But at the same time, it's like telling someone who's already a little upset to calm down, right? It's like you can't expect that to work. It's just like throwing gasoline onto the fire. But also, I know that this, like, we're getting back into like the capitalist marriage Lamau point, but like, you gotta just put the groceries away. I do that myself all the time. Like, I rationalize it myself because my wife and I have different standards of cleanliness. And over time, I've slowly moved in her direction, but it's like, it's a learning process, and it happens through habit. Like, there were times when I was like a bachelor, I would do the same thing. You get home from the grocery store, you put your ice cream in the freezer, you leave the other groceries on your counter for like a week. Who cares? And then rather than take 2 minutes to put the groceries away, you'd rather get in like a 15-minute argument about it, right? Oh, sure. Let me waste all my time moving the crackers from the counter to the cabinet, where then when I want them, I'll take them from the cabinet and then put it on the counter. That seems like a really good use of my time. But then, like, when you get older, you're like, I'm just going to do it because it like looks nice. It just like, it's the right thing to do. It looks tidy. Like, is the point of, there's like a fundamental psychological difference, I think, between neat people and dirty people. Let's not say dirty, even though I can't count myself in that group. Let's say untidy. Use whatever word you want to use for it, okay? I look at chores as a list of things that have to be done, If I vacuum on Sunday and then I see cat hair on Monday, my brain goes, I'll get it next Sunday, right? I vacuumed yesterday. I'm not going to vacuum again. The point of vacuuming is so that I can get it done and then like live my life. Neat people, on the other hand, see cleanliness or tidiness as an ideal state to be maintained as much as is conceivably possible without compromising your quality of life too much. And it's the fundamental conflict, I think, comes from those two people, or those two differences in opinion. Like for me, and I'm speaking frankly here, I vacuumed yesterday. Sometimes like I'll vacuum on a Sunday and then I'll hear the vacuum going on Monday, and I'm like, my first thought is like, why the hell did I even vacuum yesterday if Kate's just going to vacuum today? Like I could have saved 20 minutes by not vacuuming yesterday if she's going to vacuum today. But then her like viewpoint of this situation is, now that like the vacuuming has been done, everything is clean, it only takes a little bit of extra effort to keep things clean. When I see cat hair, I'll just vacuum it up and it takes 10 minutes. It's just differences in opinion. What you should not do is, go to, first off, go to Reddit, but then also like, I don't know, like when she's in the middle of cleaning to be like, why, please stop cleaning. That's not the right time to bring that up. You gotta know you're getting into a disastrous bit of territory there. Also, like, I don't know, like I am not like an alpha male. I do not impose my will in this household very often. But there is a part of me that's like, you gotta at least like grow a little bit of a backbone for your marriage's sake in this situation. Like, it's not so simple to just throw out a moldy piece of fruit. My wife gardens and she hates just throwing things away. She likes to save fruit seeds to grow them. She's gotten upset at me before for throwing away old fruit she was saving for something. Okay, that's where you gotta say, like, are you really mad at me for throwing away this moldy ass apricot? Like, you at that point you gotta be like, this is garbage. If you want it, do something with it. Otherwise, I'm going to continue to throw away stuff that's obviously gone bad. You got to at least stand up for yourself a little bit in a situation like this. Also, like, okay, I threw out your apricot. I'll just go to the store and get you another apricot and let it go bad. Like, big deal. You just got to talk it out, man. Like, that's kind of crazy. Or, yeah, it'd take 2 seconds to be like, hey, do you want these seeds? Anyway. Look, I can relate to this guy, but he is definitely the asshole. It's just because I can see myself in the post doesn't mean he's not the asshole in this situation. I think this is one of those things where when you read it from his perspective, you're like, it seems like you might be the asshole, but also simultaneously, I can understand where you're coming from. I bet if you heard it from her perspective, he would wither like a freaking raisin, man. I bet her perspective is like, my lazy ass husband, we got home from Costco, we're both tired, I went to clean the bathrooms, he put away half of the groceries, which took like 30 seconds, and then I saw him playing Rocket League on the PC with like 8 bags of groceries from Costco just staring me in the face. So obviously I got upset because things were messy, and then I went to tidy, and he was like, oh, don't tidy, it makes me feel bad, because it makes me feel like I didn't do my part. It's like, again, I'm the OP, basically. I'm just saying, OMG, stop cleaning, lol. I'm just saying, you gotta, if you read it from her perspective, I bet that this reads a little bit less generously. But I gotta see how this looks, man. I gotta see how this looks. Whew. Neither one of you are assholes, but you suck at communicating. Yeah, okay, you're a normal person. Congratulations. Dude, if you would have just said to your wife, Hey, I'm gonna put that stuff away tomorrow and go unwind before bed. That cool with you? Oh, and hey, about that piece of fruit right there. Or if she would have said, "Hey, can you pause and help me finish up the kitchen so I can relax by not having a fucked up kitchen?" Then this shit would not have escalated. But you both screwed up by not talking to each other. Yeah, this seems fair. Where's OP? I this is just if React Court could have like one lesson, it would really, from my perspective, it would be you need to recognize that just because the person wrote the account, that doesn't mean you have all the information in like both perspectives. It's like I hate when people write this. The problem is people usually get to the point of OP's wife when talking doesn't work. Like you don't know that. There's like 6 billion people on 7 billion people on the planet. Like there's a lot of people are uniquely weird in their own ways. Like you read like 3 paragraphs and you're like, I've met this person in my real life. I know exactly what you're talking about. Like just chill, man. Anyway, oh, I angry clean. I angry clean because we've had the conversation multiple times. The conversation about doing an equal load. The conversation about how I'd also prefer to rest when I get in or get up. The conversation about doing these tasks when they need to be done and how it makes both our lives better. I angry clean because it solves the immediate problem. And maybe when I get a chance to rest, I can think about having the conversation again. You're the asshole. Oof. I told you that it would look different from the wife's perspective. So if it's a non-perishable, when does it need to get put away? If it's just in your head that it has to be done right away, you can't be mad at someone else about that. The fact is you want it put away right away. I live in a cube. I eat all my meals off of a paper towel on the floor. Why the society tells you you need tables and chairs, cabinets and cupboards. Nah, drawers? Are you crazy? I leave everything easily outlaid in a 16 by 16 grid on the floor. I know exactly where everything is. And every time. Why leave stuff on the counter? Why not just complete the task? Not everyone has the energy to just yet, honey. Look, Chad, I don't want to be like canceled for this, okay? I'm not suggesting mental illness doesn't exist. Merely that in any post, whenever anybody has any like piece of bad behavior, it's just a timer until it gets attributed to something that they can't control. It's never like I don't want to do this thing, and even that's okay if I would just talk about it. It's always like, actually, not everyone has the energy to just do it. I don't know OP or his situation. Why not just complete the task? OP? I don't know OP or his situation, but anyway. Sorry, it's just Twitter poisoning. You make like a joke and then somebody's like, well, actually, maybe the people at Best Buy couldn't stock the shelves because they're depressed. And I'm like, I'm not trying to insult the people who work at Best Buy. I was merely making a joke about the system's design of the online pickup order system, okay? It didn't have to go in that direction. Am I the asshole for, hold on. We could put a slash marker here, excuse me. Slash marker, React Court 1. Am I the asshole for refusing to let my wife name our daughter Everwinter Rain? This is an interesting title, huh? Because that is a bad name. And as a result, I don't know if you could be the asshole in that situation. You have saved your daughter from probably getting her name changed legally at some point. But, okay, My wife and I are expecting a daughter. We already have a son who is 2 years old. Look, can I say something that's over the line? I'm going to do it and then I'm going to apologize, okay? You want to name your daughter Ever Winter Rain? Tell me you don't believe vaccines work without telling me you don't believe vaccines work. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Twit longer. I would like to say when I suggested that if you named your daughter Ever Winter Rain, you were an anti vaxxer, I was merely trying to be humorous. I was not trying to insinuate that a super cool name like that indicates science denialism. I was just trying to make people laugh, but I realized that maybe I crossed over the line. / question mark. Okay, okay. So my wife and I are expecting a daughter. We already have a son who's 2 years old. Our agreement was that I got to name the first baby and she got to name the second baby. Look, this is not germane to the post, I'm sure. That seems like a really stupid way to break up that duty. I think you both should agree on all of the names. And if you can't agree, you should just keep looking, honestly, until you find one that you both find amenable. Because that seems like a recipe for this exact situation. I went with what I thought was a strong, somewhat unique name, but that could just as easily suit a musician as a lawyer or a doctor. I picked the name Calvin Heath, the middle name after my brother who unfortunately passed away, and my wife was fine with it. Look, this is all fine, okay? It's a little country club, but also, who cares? What's in a name? A pog by any other name would dopamine just as sweet, okay? My wife told me she wants to name our daughter Ever Winter Rain, where Ever is the first name and Winter Rain is the middle name. I don't think this is a good name and that it isn't fair to our daughter because Ever is a word and I don't think it passes the Supreme Court Justice test. I don't know what that is. It doesn't sound professional. It's confusing because it's a word and I don't think it would suit her into adulthood. Look, I agree. I don't know why he's putting... I mean, like, I guess it's like a lifetime of education treating us that something is not persuasive unless it's written in essay format. But you could just be like, my wife wants to name our daughter Ever Winter Rain, and I don't like it because it sounds stupid as hell. And 98% of people reading the post would be like, say no more. I suggested Winter as the first name with a more normal middle name like Emma, so she has options, but my wife refused. But our agreement was that she got to pick the name. Am I the asshole if I refuse and don't sign the birth certificate if she wants to name her Ever? Man, you are fucked. This is a really good example of, in a mundane capacity, but a really good example of like you reap what you sow. You know, you got carte blanche for the first name. You didn't, and this is your mistake, you didn't drop a nuclear bomb with it. You went with something that was a little unique, it had a little personal touch to it, but was relatively conventional, and then your wife was like, now is my time. Ever Winter Rain. What you should have done is gone with something ridiculous to start with, like you should have been like poop emoji is the name of my son, at which point you would have dissolved this ridiculous agreement. Because it just is very foolish to just give one person complete control over the name because this exact situation could happen. So now you're in a weird spot, right? Which is, this is like a classic scam technique, by the way. You have already collected a reward. Your reward was naming your son without your wife being able to veto it at all. Now you're forced to argue from a position of having already accepted that reward and maintaining the cognitive dissonance of like, well, look, I know that I got 100% permission to name my child, or the first child, but you don't get that same permission. I'm not saying he's an asshole, because Ever Winter Rain is a name that I find disagreeable because of the fact that I'm going to stop short of saying stupid because it's like you know, it's cultural, I guess. Like if it has a meaning to you, that's fine, and they can always change it when they're 18 to begin with. Hey, Four Stark, thanks for the gifted subscriptions, much appreciated. But I think he's doing a noble thing. I think he's gonna eat shit for it, and that there's something admirable about that. To be honest with you, this is why you can't agree in this situation, right? You you can never, especially. I don't mean like it. I'm not suggesting that his wife was like, here's how I'm gonna screw this guy over. I'm gonna let him name the first child. He's normal, so he's probably gonna name the child something relatively normal, and then I get to shove through my agenda on the second one. I'm not suggesting that's what happened. What I am suggesting is, I think if you ever get suggested that, you pick the first name, I'll pick the second, you got to be like, you know what? Let's just both collude on both of the names. And then it's like making a coalition government work, right? You're never going to get 100% your way, but they're also never going to come down with like an edict that makes you want to die. You're going to end up probably with not your favorite name, but at least a name where, like, whenever you introduce them, on, like, Activity Gym or whatever, you don't have to be like, she's named RuneScape. Rowena? No, it's RuneScape. RUNESCAPE, RuneScape. Not the ass. And by the way, this post is engineered to have as close to complete consensus as possible. At the risk of sounding like a caricature, it is a man having a dispute with his wife, which is already probably like a plus 5% chance to not be the asshole on Reddit. And then also, it's one of the things on the internet that people feel most strongly about, which is like, isn't it weird how people get named dumb shit? It's like 100%. I'm surprised it isn't higher. I gotta read some controversial comments on this one. Gonna go with not the asshole because your wife sucks at naming things. That name is dignifiedly hot trash. 100%. I say this with respect. 100% millennial energy. This post was written by somebody who was born between 1984 and 1992 with 100% authority. This is just a phrase that it's like it's a seed phrase to tell me you're a millennial. Everybody sucks here. Why in the world would you make such an arrangement? You could have built in a veto clause. Okay, it's tort law now. Or made certain minimum requirements. You didn't. You're an asshole for wanting to go back on the arrangement now that it doesn't suit you. But who thinks of such a ridiculous name? Does she want the kid to have to explain and spell her name every single time? There's some fairness. Not the asshole. My mother named me Shad. I get two reactions. Your name is Shade, Shed, Shit, or it's Shad like the fish. Life is hard enough without having a stupid frickin' name. And then you've owned it for your account here. Look at that. Okay, I'm not actually gonna refuse to sign the birth certificate, but I'm gonna try to sell her on the name Everly Winter Rain instead. Bro, that's still fucking horrible. That's the rare. In this case, you might as well not even go with the compromise because you're going to hurt feelings and not create a situation that's any better. Please either fight harder or give up. Our agreement was I got to name the first baby and she got to name the second baby. This is up there with me, 20, and my partner, 38, as one of those openings that instantly makes me facepalm. Oh, man. I'm glad other people saw it. Yikes, not trying to be rude, but her taste in names is middle school fan fiction levels of cringe. Yes? Any of the separately are okay. Winter's Rain reminds me of Summer's Eve. I don't understand. I'm missing a joke there somewhere. Not the asshole. Your wife wants your daughter to be a young adult book protagonist. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Yeah, I agree. Oh no. I'm waiting for the story that's like forward, my friend's sister's cousin's friend works as a first grade teacher, and there was a student whose name was LA-A. And I said, La-A, and then they said, actually, it's Ladasha. Source, this is really true, I promise. For real, actually true. Happens. It's happened to everybody's friend of a friend of a friend over the course of the last 30 years. I work at an elementary school and see all kinds of weird names. We had a whole family of children named after movie swords. Blade, Excalibur. Okay. Ever is fine. I think it's a bit weird myself. It's fine. I think it's a bit weird. Names should be a joint decision, IMO, but you chose your path and now she's choosing the name. You're the asshole. I just got it. Like, I understand where you're coming at this from, okay? But, like, I think this is one where, as the husband, you got to recognize that you're breaking the terms of the arrangement, but this is like a force majeure clause. I putting myself in their shoes, I think I would be content to let my wife choose the name, but then if she chose something truly outrageous, I'd be like, I'm sorry, but I have to be the asshole now. This is an act of God. I have to do right by my unborn child by not letting you burden them with this name. Even if it means I'm going back on the terms of our agreement. Not the asshole. I think you're the asshole. I went to a high school with a boy named Ever and never thought twice about it, and he wasn't bullied for it. It's not a super common name, but it isn't unheard of. Mila Jovovich named her daughter Ever Gabo. Hey, excuse me. Hey, it's not that weird. Mila Jovovich named her kid Ever. See? Ever Gabo. Actor Robert Carradine has an actress daughter named Ever. She's not just a daughter, she's an actress daughter. Alanis Morissette has a son named Ever. Popular Mormon mommy blogger C. Jane Courtney Kendrick has a daughter named Ever. Has there ever been a sentence more designed to make the source untrustworthy than popular Mormon mommy blogger C. Jane Courtney Kendrick has a daughter named Ever? That's like saying, hey, O.J. Simpson named a horse Ever. Like, that's... Mila Jovovich, okay. She's a public figure. Robert Carradine, kind of, 30 years ago. Alanis Morissette, all right. Popular Mormon mommy blogger, C. Jane. I'm not trying to say, I don't know who Courtney Kendrick is, okay, Courtney Kendrick. But anytime you hear the expression, popular Mormon mommy blogger, C. Jane, you don't expect that there's going to be something positive after it. It's going to be like, popular Mormon mommy blogger C. Jane incarcerated tonight after it finds out she was feeding her kids exclusively chunky peanut butter for the last 10 years. Over to you. You know, it's just, the sentence is designed to perk up your ears because you're about to hear some fucked up stuff. I've never heard of any Scottish boys with the name Ever, and I'm Scottish. I think Mila Jovovich was lied to. On the one hand, you're Scottish. On the other hand, Chloe Glowy. Are you calling Chloe Glowy a liar? You might live in Scotland and experience a lot of, like, you know, being introduced to Scottish people. Sure. But I read on the internet that Mila Jovovich named her daughter Ever Gabo because she said it's a Scottish boy's name. Park tested. Tell her to close her eyes, pretend she's calling her daughter in from the park. If yelling out loud, ever, sounds stupid in front of fictional parents, then it's going to sound stupid in front of real ones. I got to understand. I prefer the park test to the Supreme Court test. Fenton! And oh, Jesus Christ. So we already did the copywritten music one. We did the tampon one. RuneScape. Am I the asshole for getting angry at my sister who said she had no money to buy a gift for our mom's birthday, but then took her girlfriend to dinner at an expensive restaurant? I don't know. This is the rare title that I don't have an answer right out of the gate. Normally, it's clear as day, but let's see. My mother celebrated her birthday last weekend. Germaine question, how old is she? You're 26, your sister's 23. If your mom is turning 50, your sister might be the asshole. If your mom is turning 52, you should do something nice. I'm just saying not all birthdays require such an extravagant gift, you know? When you're 52, you could take her out for dinner. Get her a nice card, take her out for dinner, spend time with her. That's probably what she wants. When she's 50, you should get her, I don't know, probably like maybe a Range Rover. My mother celebrated her birthday last weekend. 2 weeks before, I, 26F, asked my sister, 23F, what gift we were going to buy for our mom. She said she's sorry, but money was tight. She didn't have any money to pitch in for a gift. I know my sister doesn't earn as much as I do, so I told her that was fine. I was thinking of buying our mom a $500 necklace, and I could shoulder the full price of the gift. Her contribution could be that she could choose. She would be the one to buy it from the jewelry store. That's the greatest deal of all time. You pay for it, I get to go to the store and buy it. This is the worst trade deal in the history of deals. Where do I sign up for that? I transferred the money to her, and she bought it. I put my and my sister's name on the from portion, and we had a nice birthday dinner. All right, let's just say right off the bat, good sister. That's a good sister action. Today, I saw in my social media feed that my sister's girlfriend posted a picture of the two of them having dinner at a popular, expensive restaurant where a meal for two would be upwards of $200. My sister's girlfriend's caption was thanking my sister for the best anniversary dinner. This is a spicy one. And this is my bread and butter, okay? What takes precedent on the holiday significance hierarchy? Your mother's birthday or your anniversary with your significant other? That's a tough one. Here's the thing, which anniversary is it? And which of your mom's birthday is it? If it's your first anniversary and your mom's 70th birthday, you go with the birthday. If it's your first anniversary, it's your mom's 53rd birthday, you go anniversary. Because look, you're close with your parents. I mean, you don't have to. I just mean on the family tree. Like the median person is close with their parents. But you build like a unique bubble around the relationship you have with your romantic partner. They're both important, but the holidays you celebrate with your significant other, I think, take precedent personally. But it's a tough question. Mom helped raise you, girlfriend can get the smoke. Yes, but your mom raised you, but her mom raised her. So that's the quintessential philosophy about the parent-child relationship. As a parent, are you paying forward the raising that you got from your mom to your child? Or as a child, are you responsible when you get older to pay back the love and affection that was given to you as a child from your parent? The way that our family is, like, at least on my side, the way that it's kind of set up is my mom raised me with love and care and never wants anything from me except for my time. She wants to shower that attention onto my own child and just continually like pass the dopamine down the chain. There are some families where it goes in the opposite direction, I think, where the parents raise you, and then when you get to be a certain age, they're like, please give us money now because we raised you financially, which caused us great cost, and now, you need to support us. I think it's just a cultural thing, honestly. And then also my parents were just like really nice about it to begin with, but child stonks. Anyway, sorry, we've gone too far. But I think you have at a certain age and with a certain relationship, I think you have a closer relationship with your spouse than your parents. I mean, you spend it's not a spouse, but you spend more time with your romantic partner than you do with your parents by like a factor of 50, maybe more, honestly. Anyway, sorry, I got lost in the weeds. I got upset and called my sister and asked her why she told me that she didn't have money for a gift for my mom, but she apparently had money to have dinner with her girlfriend at an expensive restaurant. She got defensive and said that I was okay paying for my mom's gift all by myself, so why was I angry that she and her girlfriend had an expensive dinner? I told her that it was not about them having an expensive dinner, but about the fact that she lied about not having money and wasn't willing to spend literally not a single dollar for a gift for my mom while she was spending hundreds of dollars for a dinner for her girlfriend. Look, okay, this is why every argument needs somebody like an argument arbitrator that can stand in the argument and be like, that's not fair. Because she lied about not having money, whatever, 1 second. She wasn't willing to spend anything, not literally a single dollar. As the argument arbitrator, did you ask her if she would feel comfortable spending a single dollar? Or did you not even ask her for a dollar because that would be so patronizing to be like, hey, how about I pay $4.99 and you pay $1 and then we'll both write our names on it? I don't think you have the right to offer that I'm going to pay for the whole thing and then be like, you didn't even pay for 0.2% of it. Anyway, I'm not saying OP's wrong, by the way. My sister said she didn't lie to me. She had no money for mom's gifts because she already allocated the money to the dinner with her girlfriend, and she doesn't even know why she has to explain herself because I have no right to tell her how to spend her money. This is going to be the flashpoint issue for this episode. Because as of right now, I don't have a problem with the sister in this situation. This is going to be the one that's going to lower the like-dislike ratio to 92% instead of 98%. My point is that she did have money. She could have given me $20 and had dinner with her girlfriend, but she didn't want to spend anything for the woman who gave birth to and raised us. Am I the asshole? Okay. Edit. We all, when in the heat of the moment, we all said some things that we disagree with now with cooler heads. Edit, just to clear it up, because it's a recurring misunderstanding in the comments. Not due to the way I wrote it, but just independently thousands of people misreading it in the exact same way. I did not ask my sister to shoulder half the cost of the necklace. She told me she didn't have money to pitch in for a gift before I told her what I was planning to get for our mom. For those asking, we always do joint gifts to make it more special, a gift from both daughters instead of just one. In the past, I have always paid more because I earn more. I just asked my sister what she can afford to pitch in and take it. This is the first year she said she doesn't have any money to pitch in. Okay. Let's start with the obvious preamble. Almost every Am I the Asshole can just be solved, or at least ameliorated a little bit, by having a conversation with the person instead of going to Reddit first. But I get that this is also like a vent. I would also like to say that when you get the chance to display your argument, your side, your emotions, and your feelings, you have a huge advantage in the court of public perception. It takes a lot. Most disagreements, I think, that come up on these subreddits are like a 45-55, you know? Person A has a reason to have acted maybe in the asshole-ish way that they did, and then person B has the right to be upset about it. It's less like, hey, they shot my pet. Am I the asshole for crying? There's some of that. Me, 18, my boyfriend, 55, et cetera, et cetera. But most of them are like, somewhere in the, you can understand both sides and then you just pick one that you agree with, right? This one, I gotta say, I feel like sister, not the asshole. Let me lay out my case, okay? From the series of events, or the sequence as outlaid by OP, it seems like OP's sister said, I don't have any money to contribute. And then OP decided, I have the means to buy an expensive gift. I'm happy to do it. We'll put both our names on it. If OP wanted, well, let me rephrase. If the sister had been like, I can only contribute $20, would OP have still gotten a $500 necklace? Or would she have maybe gotten something that was like $200 or $150 or something like that, and then just had, the sister contribute whatever she could? The way I see this is that OP doesn't have the right to be upset that the necklace was expensive and that the sister didn't help, in spite of the fact that she picked the gift in the first place. I'm not sure if I phrased that properly. If they had colluded on a gift that would have made the sister more comfortable with maybe throwing in $10, $20, something like that, I feel like my hunch is that OP would have been like, we can't get our mom a $50 gift. We got to at least up it a little bit. So I don't feel like you have the right to choose an expensive gift and then be mad that your sister independently spend money on an important event, to be honest. But I don't think you have the right to be mad that the gift you chose was expensive and the other person spent a commensurate amount of money that could have helped with the gift on something else. She didn't say, hey, I don't have money, please buy a $500 gift. She just said, I can't really contribute. And then you chose a $500 gift. That's my take on the subject. She wasn't mad about the amount. She's mad about the lying. I disagree on whether this is lying, If, I hate to say it. Let's come up with a situation. Let's say I have $650 in my savings account, okay? But I know that as soon as Walmart releases PlayStation 5s, in 8 days, I'm going to spend almost all that money on a PlayStation 5. If someone asked me, do you have the money to pitch in on this? Do I say yes, I have the money to pitch in? Or do I say no, because the money that's in my savings account is already spoken for? Whether or not you believe that a PlayStation 5 is more important than your mom's birthday gift. You say no, right? A PlayStation 5 is not comparable. It's actually not comparable because a PlayStation 5 at least has some use, whereas a $500 necklace is essentially just giving some profit to the People's Diamond Corporation because you're too embarrassed to just tell your mom, thank you for raising me. I love you. You're one of the most important people in my life. Instead, you're willing to pay a tax to the People's Jewelry Corporation so that the gesture can say it for you. At least a PS5, it can play Demon's Souls Remake. The necklace is completely useless. I would also say money is tight, by the way. I'm not going to judge how the sister's spending her money, but if she can only afford either her mom's birthday gift or this dinner, then money's tight. That's not a lie. If having an expensive special dinner causes you to have to adjust, your financial obligations and other aspects of your life, money, that's the definition of tight. You got to move stuff around. Whether or not she should, spend her money, if she has a limited amount, should she be spending so much of it on one dinner? That's a personal decision. That's not for me to judge necessarily. I don't really want to be on record here on my stream being hey, poor people should never have nice things, even for special events. If you want to type that in chat and be actually she should have bought 7 kilograms of black beans and a bag of rice instead, then by all means. I'm just saying she basically had to make a choice. Is she going to buy her mom an expensive or contribute to her mom's expensive birthday gift that was chosen by somebody who is not in as financially a tight situation as she is, or alternatively, spend that money on, getting her, strengthening and celebrating her relationship with her significant other. I would say it's the sister's business, honestly. But I do also acknowledge, like, I'm in the minority here a little bit. And I think it's a tight issue. Like, I can see why people would be on both sides. I do agree with the people in chat, by the way, who are saying, like, my mom wouldn't want me to buy her something like that. I'm in the same boat. Like, if we take my mom out for, like, if we go to, like, Cactus Club, which is, I don't know how to describe it, like one step up from, like, an Applebee's, she's like, oh my God, you guys, please let me pay for this. And I'm like, Mom, just shut up. We're picking up the check. You didn't have to get 8 Bellinis, but, like, we'll still pick up the check. Don't worry about it, okay? Just relax. But I do also recognize, like, sometimes we'll buy Kate's mom a nice thing, and she'll be like, thank you so much. Also, what, you couldn't have splurged for, like, one size higher? So you don't get to choose who your family is. Maybe the mom, maybe that kind of stuff is important to her mom. But anyway, I don't know. I'm interested to see the comments here, though. Let's see. Not the asshole. From now on, just get your mom a gift herself. If your sister can't afford to, that's on her. That's totally true, by the way. Like, I don't disagree with that. If you want to just get her a gift and be like, this is from me, and then, Vanessa can handle her own gift, that's totally fine. That seems like a great solution. Not the asshole, just buy gifts separately from now on. I didn't even consider that, man. That's only child brain right there. I didn't even consider that you could just split the gifts. It'll save you a lot of grief. Not the asshole. There's a difference between being able to afford something and whether or not you literally have the money. You asked her only 2 weeks in advance. She'd already made the plans. Wait, okay, so who's the asshole? Not the assholes. No assholes here. Okay, yeah, I would agree with that. And by the way, based and egg pilled. Most people don't buy $500 gifts. Had you suggested splitting a $60 gift, maybe she could have found the money to do that. In the future, just buy your own gifts. Yeah, absolutely. And then, of course, only 2 weeks? It's not a surprise. Their mother's birthday has been the same for their entire lives. If the sister can remember to put money aside for her anniversary after a couple years, she should be able to remember to put money aside for an event she's been celebrating for decades. I hate this formatting. Again, millennial energy, I think. Whatever happened to bold, man? Now we're all using caps. Hold on, if you'll excuse me. Your sister's an adult. She's allowed to spend her money however she wants. She should be allowed to go in on an anniversary dinner with her girlfriend. It makes some sense she'd prioritize it on an anniversary dinner over a $500 necklace for her mom. I agree so far. You seem weirdly controlling about your sister's life. Well, you were the one who chose such an expensive gift, offered to pay for it all, put her name on it. You could have just made it your gift and left her out of it. This just seems like you creating petty drama. You're the asshole. Yeah. Kind of. Again, this is all like how you read it without them having had a conversation. I mean, again, like, it's a difference of opinion, right? Like, we always get her joint gifts. I thought it would be more special for my mom, a gift from both of her daughters instead of just from one. I earn more than my sister, so I'd always pay more. I would just ask her what she can afford to pitch in and take it. This is the first year she said she doesn't have anything. I was okay with that because I really thought money was tight for her. I'm like, just because she spent $200 on a dinner doesn't mean money is not tight, right? Like, I mean, it would be a different story if you were like, hey, like, we need you to contribute to mom's medical bills. And she was like, oh, I can't. I have this anniversary dinner that I'm spending $200 on. But you're like, these are two, forgive my phrasing here, okay? These are two frivolous expenses. The sister has the right to choose which one is more important to her. If it's not like one of them is more valid and necessary and then the other one is like a complete luxury. Like they're both discretionary expenses. I just don't understand why it's like she lied about being broke. It's like you can spend $200 on a dinner and still be broke. You could like buy something nice for a gift and still be broke. If anything, you're more broke because you've done it. And this is not like it's not like you're policing, like, have you suffered enough to be able to spend this? Money's tight, but you're not wearing a barrel with suspender straps on it? That's what I'm, exactly. Like at no point in the article is it like my sister is destitute and derelict, and yet she's going out for a $200 dinner while, like, you know, sucking on the teat of the taxpayer or whatever. It's just like she doesn't have enough money to contribute to a gift, but she also bought a nice dinner. That doesn't make her a hypocrite. Just, you know, she went out for a nice dinner. Why are you wearing a windbreaker inside? Because I am a windbreaker inside. Based. Not the asshole, but this is a big but. You need to realize people budget what they prioritize. I prioritize food and rent. Not everyone does. It's always... People who don't spend money always think that they have the moral high ground. You don't know that your sister is not also prioritizing food on the table and rent. Your mom's birthday gift is not food on the table or rent. That's another discretionary expense. I'm not saying it's not important. I'm just saying you don't get to be like, well, you and I have reasonable budgets because we're smart people. But there's some dummies out there that buy, you know, they spend money on different things that are frivolous. Some people will always have money for alcohol or cigarettes. Regardless, you always have money for what and who is important to you. Your mom was not, your per mom was not important. Her girlfriend was, the end. Man, that's crazy. I kind of like envy the viewpoint of people who just see things so cut and dry as this so clearly. There's been a lot of times, like if you distilled it down to its brass tacks, in my early 20s, I don't think I ever got my mom a birthday gift that was more than just like a card and a phone call. And I definitely spent money on dumb shit. And I'm very thankful that I was not judged as like, oh, so like in September, you know, you had 20 beers out with your friends over the course of the whole month, and yet you could have bought me a $42 gift with that amount of money or something like that. Like, my mom is more important to me, but at the same time, like, I mean, it's just like a weird confluence of things. Like, you always have money for what and who is important to you. I guess I just see it differently, that, like, you know, you can show your appreciation to the people in your life, without needing to quantify it with like a financial ledger item. Like I've never gotten like a birthday card from someone and then been like, oh, I guess I'm not important enough for you to shove $20 in the card. I'm always like, you know, thanks, Uncle Greg. I appreciate the card. Thanks for thinking of me. We haven't spoken in like 11 years and you still have my birthday in your calendar. That's kind of sick. Like, I guess you're just like a bad child if you spend money on your girlfriend but not on your mom. You know what? Maybe your mom should have bought like into the S&P 500 in the 90s when she was earning, and it's gone like 7x from then, and then she could buy like her own gifts. You know, how do you feel about that, Mom? You grew up in an economic golden age, and yet you're out here asking me to stop having anniversary dinners, pay for a $500 necklace? Come on. All right, I think we got one more in us. If your workflows still consist of long email threads and casual conversations in the hallway, you need Monday.com. The smart way to manage your team, Monday.com gives you the visibility you need to monitor all ongoing projects in real time so you're always in control. Tell me your Trello without telling me your Trello. We already did the OnlyFans one. That was like a month ago. Would I be the asshole if I don't tell my best friend's dying mother that my son is actually her grandson? I'm not touching that one with a 10-foot pole. Am I the asshole for grounding my daughter for using an evil spell on her deceased mother? What is happening? I don't know any of these, man. Am I the asshole for choosing a friend wedding over my sister's segregated one? Am I the asshole for refusing to move out because my polyamorous boyfriend's wife doesn't want another dog? Am I the asshole for refusing to move because my polyamorous boyfriend's wife doesn't want another dog? I'm not judging the lifestyle. I'm just trying to keep the nouns in my head to figure out how these people are connected to one another. Am I the asshole? This is a person. Person A. I won't move because my boyfriend, person B, his wife, person C, doesn't want another dog. How does this happen? Because she has a dog and she's going to move in, but they want her to move out with the dog. Okay, I'm not touching this with a 10-foot pole. Okay? Delete it. I don't want to be seen as judging this because, I genuinely don't care basically at all what people do with their personal lives. The only thing this makes me think is that's really complicated. It's the same thing when I was watching the Tiger Woods documentary, and it was he has 14 mistresses. I wasn't there was a part of me that's wow, that's a scumbag move, but there was another part of me that's man, you gotta be tired as hell, Tiger. That's a lot of work, man. I keep 6 people in my life in contact. It's my mom, my dad, my wife, my daughter, and then the Discord group that I talk to. That's it. And even then, sometimes I'm I'm too tired to check in with my mom today. Tiger Woods was winning every single well, they're not Grand Slams, right? What are the majors? He's winning 2.78 majors a year, married with 3 kids, millions of dollars in endorsements. He's got 14 mistresses as well. Don't you ever just want to sit on the couch and just take a nap or something? That's crazy. Is it gone? The post is deleted. All right. Does it get archived? No. Okay. I had to know. I gotta know, man. This is the one, because this is written by an angry dad. Am I the asshole for trying to teach my future stepchildren a little discipline? The less specific that you get in the headline, the more you've abstracted it back in order to make it seem this is where, when an argument gets to the point where you're oh, I guess I'm the asshole for wanting people to be happy. That's you're so far back from the thing that originally caused the argument to begin with that you've already lost. Let's see. Excuse me. I'm 46, engaged to 41. She has 2 kids, 15, 11, from a previous marriage. She raised them largely on her own, and they're great kids. I love them as my own. However, She has most definitely spoiled the hell out of them, gives them everything they want, and as I've been slowly finding out in the last few years, she's basically done everything for them their entire lives. They've never been given the slightest bit of responsibility. They're both very lazy, but they constantly have their hands out looking for someone to give them something. This is not going to be popular with chat right now, but like, yeah, I hope this is 11 male, not 11 months old. Because if they're 11 months old, you should give them whatever they ask for. Because speaking as the parent of an 11-month-old, it's just a lot of, food and affection, basically. I could understand having a 15-year-old stepdaughter and being like, we need to start teaching her some responsibility. Maybe it's a boomer take, but I think part of the role of a parent, especially as they're in that period where they're transitioning from child to adult, is to spoon feed them an opportunity to gain responsibility, because the older you get, the more responsibility you have to take on to begin with. I was raised very differently, not in a strict household, but a single-parent household with mom. My siblings and I were taught very early about responsibility and basic life lessons we did without, which made us appreciate what we had. I had been slowly trying to burn it into their brains that they are not babies. Gentle. I was raised in this situation. I've been trying to sear it into their cerebral cortex that they're not babies. And that they need to pick up around the house without having to be constantly told to do so. If you want something, earn it by doing chores. My fiance gives me a ton of blowback. She doesn't see why I get so upset when they won't get off their asses. I'm trying to teach them self-sufficiency. She tells me I'm being an asshole and I'm being too hard on them. This guy's identity is wrapped up in never asking for help, which is okay. That doesn't make him a bad person necessarily. But it's like he knows that you have to phrase it in a gentle way. Like, I want to introduce them to responsibility so they don't grow up to be completely helpless. But then the language he uses to talk about it makes it sound like whenever he sees like a cup on the island, he's like, where the frick did this cup come from? You know, you didn't need to, you guys are so lazy. I'm trying to teach you how to be self-sufficient. Like, it's just a little, there's a culture difference here. You know, there's like the way that he talks versus the way that he sees himself. He sees himself as like a chivalric knight, but he talks like his profile photo on Twitter is him in his truck wearing sunglasses. Let me clarify a bit, by the way. What say you? Am I the asshole? We talked about these things before moving in together. Yes, it was agreed we'd both work together with regard to how we'd handle the kids. I asked her point blank if she would be okay with me imposing a little bit more of a direct approach to letting them know they'd have to pitch in around the house. She was 100% on board. Also, she said she expected me to act as her equal as far as parenting went. That was her idea, not mine. I told her from the very beginning I would never, ever intentionally overstep her boundaries. I'm not a hard ass. I'm actually very laid back. But when I'm asked to parent these kids and I see them being lazy, unmotivated, and, okay, look. The 15-year-old, okay. You got to take a different approach with the teenager than the 11-year-old, though. You see, an 11-year-old being lazy, unmotivated, disrespectful, I won't speak to, but lazy, they're 11. They're in like 5th grade. You don't have to impose that kind of culture in them at that age. I mean, like, you get them a couple of breadcrumbs to get along the road, but lack of specific examples here is troublesome. I would agree with that as well. Like, we're being asked to exclusively look at this one in a vacuum, which I don't respect. Give me a specific situation where I didn't mean to yell at them, but I had a really hard day at work. I was so annoyed when I came home. I stubbed my toe on a skateboard and then I just went off. I completely lost control, but it's not my fault because the 11-year-old kid doesn't have a job yet. So, it sounded good to her in theory, but now she's balking at it, and I feel like I'm trapped in a minefield, not sure which way to step without risking an explosion. Yes, that is indeed, that's the metaphor. And look, now I'm being the asshole, but when you make a metaphor, you're making the metaphor as a substitution for spelling out the exact thing that you mean. You don't need to be like, I feel like I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place now. Like, I can't move because I've got two things that are pressing in on me, making it impossible. You know, it's that's what the purpose of the metaphor is. But anyway. I love them as my own. Nothing in your post even indicates you even like these children. Come on! That's too far. You don't know that. He could be a great stepfather. This is just too much, man. Anyway, sorry. You're the asshole. You're not the parent here. Their actual parent is telling you this is not a big deal. Did you see OP's update? Did I see OP's update? I don't think I did. You got to go to QA for that. You're the asshole. Oh no. Oh no. Downvoted OP. Old-fashioned childhood, learning basic life stuff like simple responsibility is old-fashioned. Good luck with that mindset. Mine is 51. Sort by Q&A. I don't know how to use Reddit. If I didn't like them, would I be here asking for opinions from total strangers in an effort to remedy the situation? Yeah, swing and a miss on your part. Oh no. They're a Facebook user? How upset are you getting? I don't scream and yell or put my hands on them if that's what you're asking. Nope. That's pretty much like the bare minimum. I am not looking for validation. Also, I don't think I've been combative at all. Shy of giving a bit of snark back to those who gave it to me first. You do know that there's such a thing as tough love, right? There's no easy way to step into this situation, as anyone who has ever tried will attest. Calling them spoiled doesn't mean I don't love them. They freely admit they're spoiled. They know it. They own up to it. But thanks for the input. I appreciate it. Oh no. Look at the downvotes, man. This is crazy. And I think it's deserved. Why is this guy so allergic to answering questions, right? Have you ever worked with children before? This is a genuine question. Yes. So, wow, very believable. I've worked with kids so often, I can't even write any specifics out because, like, there's just so many, my keyboard would break by the time I finished. Yeah, for sure. More, please. More? You are not a parent. Oh, no, what have I done? Oh my God. They're still they're posting on other stuff now. They took that as a great opportunity to launch their account. Nice piece of wax. Vinyl releases. Nice piece of wax. Anyway. He posts there, of course. I didn't mean to click on it. I know it could have been NSFW. Anyway, I think he's kind of the asshole in this situation. Either way, we're going to move on. This was a fun React court, though, /marker. The end of React court.